We've had a pretty wild flip in the last 24 hours that we need to talk about because it's very clear that there are certain ranges where the bears and the shorts are feeling comfortable, and there are certain ranges where they are not. We're at one of them right now, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean here. I also do want to talk about something I did not get a chance to discuss in my earlier video, just something people need to be aware of. And I also want to discuss some very bizarre things that are taking place. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, that bell, it's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So right now, US money has woke up, not making a whole lot of movement so far. It's about 7:15 or so a.m. And I frankly don't care where price goes today because, again, I understand that tomorrow is going to be a big dictator of direction as moving forward. Basically, the back half of the week might even be the remainder of September before Q4 comes. And again, Q4 tends to be one of the most explosive times for crypto. Love to see it. It's been obviously a brutal year for SHIB and the crypto market in general. And it's nice that we're finally getting to a time where, again, things can start opening up in a big way. And I noticed something and looking at the more in-depth metrics for Shiba Inu this morning. And what I noticed is that obviously we came down to those moving averages. We're sitting at a good range of support. Again, hopefully this holds as the day progresses. But we obviously talked about open interest in terms of Shiba Inu yesterday. And if you guys remember, the long-short ratio had flipped below a 1.0, meaning that shorts were outpacing the longs in the crypto market. We've seen a 4% drop in open interest in the crypto market. And look what is back above a 1.0. The open interest ratio, the long short ratio. Okay. So what we're actually seeing is down at these ranges, shorts and bears are very, very uncomfortable. Either that or they're just uncomfortable heading into tomorrow's FOMC meeting. And that would be fair as well. But this isn't the first time we've seen this take place. Shorts get very comfortable once Shiba Inu actually runs up above this 200-day moving average, because we've obviously faced several rejections before. Shorts won this round. Not really surprising. They've won several times here and there. But longs are starting to win more and more and more. And this is why people are taking advantage while SHIB still sits in this oversold range. It's like we talked about the other day. We talked about Shiba Inu being undervalued. And look at this. We're still below this big block that sits right here in terms of the MVRV score. So what it's showing you is that SHIB's been undervalued for a very long period of time, and you only tend to stay in those undervalued ranges for so long before things begin to get exciting. And that's what leads me to believe, again, that we have some pretty exciting times coming. And maybe this week is a kickoff for that. Maybe it's next month with the approval and passing and signing into law of the Clarity Act. Who knows what it's going to be, but there's going to be a moment where, frankly, the selling pressure just frankly runs out of gusto and we just open up in a much bigger way. Did want to point out something as well here. Meme coin search volume still incredibly low. This is just kind of piggybacking on what I was talking about earlier. Meme coins are kind of blah right now, have been since the early part of September. Although we've had some pumps, they've been kind of falling flat because, again, right now a lot of that interest has been in, your US based layer ones and some of your AI assets. We've had kind of a spike of memes here and there, but it's nice to see at least that we're finding a little bit of stability in that sense. Now, something I wanted to talk about as well, part of the reason why we got our drop the other day is there was actually this Shibarium bridge exploit that led to $2.4 million in losses. Now, this was actually via mostly using Bone, or done with Bone, and understand that right now this is in fact locked. The team is working hard to try to recover these assets. They're basically paused in the stake and unstake functions currently, so they can't access them. But this obviously may have contributed to the drop in terms of SHIB. K9 Finance, Bone saw a pretty significant drop, 38% based on this. So it's led obviously Bone to be incredibly undervalued. We haven't talked about Bone in a long time, but there are still some pretty big things taking place for Shiba Inu and the SHIB ecosystem. I will say that right now, Shiba Swap is actually looking at going multi-chain. They're talking about entering major chains like Polygon as well. So this could obviously be a big way to bring Shiba Inu to other ecosystems as well. This is still kind of in the early phases there, but there's still progress being made. And I still always hold out hope that Shibarium and the SHIB ecosystem are going to lead to some bigger and better things for Shiba Inu. But I understand that if, at least as of right now, it may just be all on SHIB to make a lot of this progress by itself. Now, that leads me to this last thing. I do this because I want to get out information for SHIB and other assets in the space. I want to keep everybody updated. And there are some absolute weirdos out there in the world. There's a guy that just keeps making videos about me. And the funny thing about this is, I don't think he realizes that every time he's making one of these videos, it just draws more engagement to the channel. So appreciate it. Keep it up. But it's just kind of bizarre because he'll even take stuff out of context. Like if you guys remember the other day, I was reading an article and then now he says that I'm saying Shiba Inu won't live on forever. No, SHIB has made it through the bear market cycle. It's made it to some exciting times in this bull market cycle. And unfortunately, a lot of what we've dealt with in this cycle alone has been manipulation, has been mostly institutional enterprise and government focus. It hasn't been the fun retail times like we've traditionally seen in the crypto market. Retail has been the big thing that's been lagging. And I don't want to, keep repeating myself and talking about that time and time again, but that's when the market truly gets exciting. That's what takes us, from being $1.11 trillion in terms of the total three in crypto to up to, $5 trillion, $7 trillion, somewhere in that range, right? That is what takes us from the total market cap of crypto being at $3.96 trillion to that $10 to $12 trillion range. And I find it kind of bizarre that people are making weird judgment calls right now and saying that SHIB is dead before the thing that actually drives Shiba Inu is even here, before we've seen the exciting times in the crypto market. The push is going to come, guys. You're not going to stop mass adoption forever. You're not going to hold retail out of the markets forever. We've talked about manipulation many times before, and what they're trying to do is manipulating everyone to think that, we're going to see this just massive bear market cycle come basically a month or two from now. And again, we've had discussions about extended cycles and things like that. And I've said for a long time that I think this is going to be a super cycle. And I think the introduction of enterprise and institutional players and governments has really kind of confirmed that. And right now what they're doing is, like I've said many times before, they're getting all the infrastructure in place so they can earn all the fees on this big adoption that's going to hit the crypto market. And then it's going to be just a big wave of a large amount of people trying to fit through a very small doorway. And that's where SHIB has a real opportunity to shine, because again, we've talked about, this major hoarding of supply, the limited supply that's available on exchanges. That's exactly what is necessary when we get into those big times. So that's all I got for you guys. I appreciate you as always. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.